Hi, I'm Elizabeth and today I'm going to show you how to make chocolate chip cookies. What you're going to need for the chocolate chip cookies are 1 cup of softened butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of chocolate chips, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. You will also need a non-stick cooking spray, air bake cookie sheets, and a whisk and a large bowl. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is combine all of your dry ingredients. That includes our flour, sugar, brown sugar, salt, baking soda, and mix it together. You can use an electric mixer, but I've decided to use just a whisk. Now be sure that you don't add your chocolate chips yet. Chocolate chips you need to add last so that they don't break up and start to melt. Now you need to pour in your butter. Now 1 cup of butter is also 2 sticks of butter, and I just put them in the microwave for about 30 seconds and that did the job. So now pour in your vanilla extract and crack your 2 eggs. You need to mix them all together and be sure that you don't spill because it can be really messy. Now something that would probably help is a rubber spatula. You can use the rubber spatula to get all of the dough out of the inside of the whisk and scrape the sides of the bowls to make sure that you get everything wet. You need to preheat your oven to 350. And something else that we're going to need for this recipe is 2 teaspoons of hot water. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really makes a difference. I wanted to show you this first to show you what the hot water really does. You can tell that the dough is way too dry and it's not going to stick together, but the 2 teaspoons of hot water makes a huge difference. Once you've added your hot water, just continue to mix until the dough all comes together. Make sure that you get all of the flour and dry ingredients from the bottom of the bowl, because if you start separating out your dough for the cookies, you don't want to be left with a bunch of dry ingredients. This is what your dough should look like when you're finished mixing. If you're not sure that it's moist enough to actually be made into cookies yet, try mixing it into a circle, and if it all comes together in a huge ball, like this, then it's ready to be made into cookies. The last thing you need to do for the cookies is to add the chocolate chips. Now be sure not to crush the chocolate chips. When you put them in here, it's more of a folding the chocolate chips in than it is mixing. Be sure to keep your work area clean while you're working so that you don't have to do a lot of cleaning up afterwards. The last thing you need to do is separate out your dough into cookies. I'm using an air bake cookie sheet. It is actually 2 layers and it has air in between the 2 layers, and I've experimented with a couple of different types of cookie sheets, and these actually are the only ones that have the bottom of the cookie perfectly golden brown instead of burnt. So what you need to do is take your non-stick cooking spray and cover the entire cookie sheet. Not too much because you don't want them to be greasy. And what we're going to be doing is take a spoon and separate your cookie dough into sizes about the size of a golf ball. And we are going to put them about 2 inches apart from each other. because these are going to spread while they're being cooked. Don't try and roll the dough into a ball because then it doesn't spread out right. So this is what it looks like afterwards. These are very fast, and all you have to do is cook them in your oven at 350 for about 10 minutes, but it differs on some ovens. I have an electric oven, and whenever I had a gas oven, I don't exactly remember the time, but it was a little different. After you've separated out your dough, be sure that you put both trays in the oven at the same time so that they're both done at the same time. If you have a light inside your oven, it's probably a good idea to keep it turned on, because if you need to check on your cookies, it's way better to look from the outside of the oven through the door than it is to open the door. Now, one thing you need to remember is cookies inside the oven are always going to look different than cookies outside of the oven. What I mean is, if you look inside the oven in about 10 minutes, they might not quite look done, but what you need to do is take them out once they look slightly undercooked. Not like the middle is mushy. If you can tell that the middle is mushy, then you know they're not ready. But if they just look a little greasy or not quite as golden brown as you would hope, then take them out anyways, because they probably are finished. I'll show you what I mean whenever we get to that point. This is what our cookies looked like after 12 minutes of cooking. Now, they don't look totally finished, but after they've settled, then they'll be ready. Just put the cookies onto here and let them cool. To get the most enjoyment out of your cookies, eat it with ice cold milk.
Seriously.
Nom nom.